This is a question I've actually gotten a lot over the years of being a professional videographer. Do I need a business partner to start a video production business? Now, I've been in a few partnerships over the years, and I've been asked to be brought in as a business partner at multiple local marketing agencies and video production companies. Here's my take on business partners and my real world experience with them. First up, let's chat about if you ever need a business partner in the first place when it comes to a video production company. The first thing that comes to mind when I think about partnerships in the same sentence as a video production company is high overhead. A few years ago, I partnered with another local videographer in my area to start a video production business. So we kicked off the business with having one full-time employee. We decided right off the jump to get a small office space, which was actually inside of an airplane hangar, believe it or not. So right off the jump, we already had overhead. $700 per month for rent. Employee payroll was $2,800. Payroll remittance, aka payroll tax, approximately $400, Wi-Fi bill, $80, miscellaneous office expenses, $300, incorporation of the business, $2,500, QuickBooks accounting software, $80, miscellaneous software is $300. Month one ended up being approximately $8,000 worth of video production work, and the owners did not get paid. So the total overhead ended up being $7,160, so profitable, but just barely profitable. Now, while both me and my business partner at the time were videographers and taking shoots while editing, my business partner eventually said after a few months that he was more interested in being the business brains behind what we were doing. So rather than taking shoots and editing, he would be on top of our accounting and business backend, sending in video proposals, taking phone calls and in-person meetings, handling our employee payrolls, and overall keeping our business nice and organized. Now, keeping in mind that this was a decision that was made because I was so much more excelled and well immersed when it comes to the technical side of being a filmmaker, where my business partner was much more experienced when it came to the business side of things. We each had our different strengths, which is normally why people decide to find a business partner in the first place. So tasks within a business can be delegated. But looking back at it, I think when we're talking about a video production business specifically, this is actually where things would start to take a turn for the worse down the road once we were more deeply invested into the business. More than 50% of businesses that involve partnerships end up failing after the 2-year mark. I think that this statistic is extremely accurate and totally makes sense because a lot of the times partnerships will end up not working because one partner feels like they're doing a much more labor-intensive job than the other. And in this case, that person was me. I personally didn't find it to be super fair that, after a larger budget, longer day shoot, that I would be the one at the office all night editing. Many times I wouldn't have time to go to the gym or be physically active because I would work through that healthy hobby of mine, and next thing I know, I'm still at the office at 2 a.m. on a Friday night, triple checking and setting aside a boatload of camera gear so we're organized for a full day wedding shoot that we're filming over the weekend. Not only that, but the editing alone had me feeling like the work was a bit unbalanced. In my opinion, being that I worked 7 days per week and never took time off, if I stopped editing for an entire weekend, that means we get 2 days backed up on projects. So to keep the flow of good turnaround times with our clients, I found myself working pretty well every single weekend of the year, and my work-life balance was in complete shambles. Now, my business partner, on the other hand, who was mostly doing everything I listed off earlier, which was client and business management, and the majority of those tasks are normally only handled between 9 to 5, Monday to Friday. What I mean by this is that a corporate client won't open your email sent on a Friday evening until Monday morning, so there isn't a huge point in working on too much business development over a weekend. At least that's how I saw it. Above all else, during the first year of going into any business, most of the time business owners will make the executive decision to pay themselves either nothing or a very small payroll amount every month so that the business owners can use that sweat equity and reinvest the money in the bank account to things such as scale the company by either purchasing more video equipment or hiring more employees to take on even more projects and up the volume of projects. As you guys know, I'm very real and raw on this channel when I talk about anything filmmaking related, but for the entire first year of my involvement in this business, we decided to drain what we had currently saved to live day to day and not pay ourselves a penny out of the business. This was a learning experience to say the least, because when we started to pay ourselves, which is around year 2, I want to say that we paid ourselves around $25,000, averaging at about $2,000 Canadian per month. And for my US viewers, that's about a whopping $1,500 USD per month. Now, the payroll also has a high overhead because when money goes out for payroll, you pay tax on top of that. And keeping in mind, having a 50-50 partner, if I get paid $2,000 in a month, my business partner also has to get paid $2,000 per month, which totals in at $4,000 in payroll, plus the taxes you pay for payroll, which would be probably around $1,500 or so. Just to pay ourselves a small amount of $4,000 in total every month, that overhead alone was more like $5,500 to $6,000. This extremely low monthly payroll stuck through for pretty well 2 years straight, as we had since hired a second full-time employee along with a part-time employee. Not only that, but we were also reinvesting our money into equipment such as a $15,000 Red Komodo 6K cinema camera rig so we could start filming higher budget corporate videos, which I will add was actually a really good investment. And even though this business partnership didn't work out long term, my ex-business partner was like really good at selling high-end corporate commercials, and I've seen him secure single video projects anywhere from $10,000 all the way up to the low $20,000 mark for just one single 1-minute video commercial. At the end of the day, that's pretty damn impressive. Now, I eventually came to a realization that filmmaking was something I'd been doing for a good 6 full years leading up to being involved in this startup business and getting paid $2,000 per month, and that just wasn't cutting it for me anymore. I actually woke up one day only to find that my car was actually stolen right outside of my home, and I couldn't even afford to purchase a new car anymore because I just wasn't getting paid enough per month. This was honestly the tipping point for me, where I had to have that tough conversation with my business partner that the stress of the hours put in and us both not getting paid anywhere near what our time is actually worth just wasn't working for me, and I wanted the option of a buyout or dissolving the company. We ended up concluding that dissolving would be best, so we split whatever cash was in the bank account, squared up our taxes, and sold off and divided all of the equipment the company owned. I will say as well that if you're watching this video and maybe in a similar situation as I was here, after talking to lawyers and accountants that, giving your business partner ample time to come up with a decision of whether they want to buy you out or dissolve the company is just good business and can eliminate a lot of hostility. And I say this because with hostility comes emotions, and with emotions behind business, that's when things start to get ugly, lawyers get involved, and now your buyout or asset split is far less than what you would have gotten had both parties just been totally cordial throughout the entire process. I'm going to add to this as well and say that I was during this time involved in another startup business where I was asked if I wanted to get bought out of the business. And when I agreed to the buyout, because it was just something that I just didn't really want to be involved in, I wasn't very passionate about it anymore, but wanted to come up with a price that I thought was fair for the buyout, I did have an ex-business partner who would send me follow-up texts like literally every couple days, said some things that just didn't sit well with me in regards to the buyout process, and I just felt very pressured to make a decision more quickly than I would have liked, which for a startup especially, you shouldn't feel pressured to make a decision in a week's time, considering you've probably put in a lot of sweat equity, and for that, you deserve to have some time away to think about how you want to proceed with being bought out or buying somebody else out of the business. Now, there are a lot of positives that actually came out of this almost 3-year experience. First and foremost, talking with business lawyers and really getting a good understanding of where I legally stood in a partnership dissolve of a business. The information I know about the legalities of partnerships is probably one of the top 3 favorite things I've learned. I'll just say this right now, but if my old business partner was a dick with the video production company business, he could have easily been extremely difficult to deal with during the dissolving process. He could have lawyered up and could have tried to squeeze every penny out of the dissolving process as possible. But we decided right off the jump to play this game as fairly as humanly possible, which we did. And we both walked away without any bad blood. But a lot of the times it doesn't go quite like that. Secondly, not only did my business partner learn a lot about video production from me, but I also learned more than I could tell you in one YouTube video from him about the business side of filmmaking. The things I've learned from him, I carry into my own freelance business to this day. Now, with all this being said, I'm friends with more filmmakers than I can count who have a 50-50 partnership in a production company or have smaller equal stake in a video company with multiple owners, and they're absolutely crushing it and doing great for themselves. I'm not saying that you should stray away from a partnership in a video production business, but just be a little careful and realistic before getting into them. I think that my partnership experience would have been maybe more successful had my business partner also been a technical filmmaker first, to the point where we were both doing, video jobs together and handling cameras and both hitting client edits at the same time. I think the work would have felt a lot more equal, but at the end of the day, when I talked with my business lawyers about the entire situation, when I initially brought up that I wanted to exit the business, the lawyer's best advice to me was to actually stray away from 50-50 partnerships, because you have to look at 50-50 partnerships as if it's a commitment to a marriage. Sure, it's different than a marriage, but when it comes to money and assets, they're extremely similar in many ways. Now, if you are set on going into business with somebody else in the videography related space, these are the questions you need to write out and answer truthfully to yourself. Today's video is sponsored by Epidemic Sound. I've been using Epidemic Sound for 6 years, whether it's for paid client video work or my YouTube content. My favorite feature Epidemic has to offer is their AI video upload song matching tool. Simply upload test footage of a project you're working on to Epidemic Sound, and their AI platform will spit out a long list of songs that match the vibe and pace of your video, saving you hours of finding royalty-free music that fits the vibe of your visuals. Not only do you get a library of thousands of royalty-free music, but you also get access to thousands of realistic sound effects. Click the link below to get a free 30-day trial to Epidemic Sound that can be canceled at any time. No commitment necessary. Now let's get back to the video. Do I know the videographer I'm partnering with? Is it a friend or acquaintance? If it's an acquaintance, do I know for sure that they have just as good, if not better, of a work ethic than me, and will I be able to rely on them putting in heavy amounts of hours into the business? Am I okay with putting sweat equity into the business and not getting paid or barely being paid for my time to reinvest into the business to help grow it? Do I have legal documentation of a partnership agreement that clearly indicates what happens during the situation of a buyout, the business dissolving, or bringing another business partner into the mix? Am I okay with claiming the video equipment I currently own and paid for personally under the business, and now not personally owning my video equipment because the business now owns it? If myself or my business partner decides to take on a business development role over being in the field, in the trenches, filming and editing, do I have a solidified plan of how the hours will be equally divided? And lastly, the most important, do our 5 and 10-year goals of where we want to be as a business or personally in life align with each other? Is the goal to move the business to a bigger city, simply make X amount of money per year, or sell the business and exit? These are all things you need to heavily consider before you get into business partnership, especially a 50-50 partnership in a video production business. I hope this video sheds some light on partnerships within the videography space, and honestly, this video is probably completely gonna flop on the algorithm because I feel this isn't a video most videographers are searching, but I really could care less because I couldn't find anything this niche down talking about this topic on YouTube. So there you have it, guys. If you have any questions about anything I've chatted about in this video, leave a comment down below as I respond to every comment. Or if you don't feel comfortable asking a question on the video, feel free to shoot me a DM on Instagram at visuals by RoyalZ. Thanks everybody for watching. Catch you in the next video. Peace.